At the Spencer estate, tension mounts as Luna Nozawa stands face to face with a demand she never anticipated. Bill Spencer, steely-eyed and ruthless, presses her with a cold ultimatum. Prove your love for my son will by terminating your pregnancy. It's not just a power play. Bill is convinced this is a trap, another manipulation. Even though Luna insists the child she carries is Will's, he remains skeptical, watching every twitch, analyzing every word for deception. But Luna doesn't flinch. She refuses to bow to the demand. Her voice trembles with emotion, not fear, as she declares this baby is not a scheme or a bargaining chip, it's her future, her purpose. Her defiance lights a fire in Bill's eyes, not admiration, fury. He sees her as reckless, a liability threatening his son's freedom and legacy. And so he pivots. Not a command this time, but a deal. Bill offers Luna an escape, terminate the pregnancy and disappear. He paints it like a generous gift, a tropical island, a fresh start, no prison bars. In return, she erases the scandal, the legal danger, the stain on the Spencer name. He makes it sound simple, clinical. But Luna hears the subtext, get rid of the baby, get out of our lives. Luna, however, isn't interested in running. She's not afraid of Bill, not anymore. She sees through the threats and manipulation. She knows he didn't drag her back to Spencer Manor out of mercy. Somewhere buried under all that Spencer pride and fear, he still hopes to control the situation without spilling blood or turning his back on an unborn grandchild. Luna gambles on that. Instead of backing down, she challenges Bill's assumptions. If you're so certain this child is a mistake, she asks, then why haven't you handed me over to the authorities? Why the secrecy? Why the deal? Bill doesn't answer, not directly. He leans back, jaw clenched, calculating. He's protecting his empire, yes, but maybe, just maybe, he's also protecting something more fragile. A sliver of hope that this child, if it truly is Will's, could be a new beginning rather than a scandal. But Luna's defiance isn't without cost. Every refusal puts her deeper in Bill's crosshairs. And across town, another story is unraveling just as quickly, one tangled in silk sheets and secrets. Electra Forrester, full of warmth and optimism, is preparing a romantic evening for the man she believes is Horace Will Spencer. She's lit candles, chosen music, and crafted a custom necklace with his initials. She believes tonight will be the next step in their perfect fairy tale. She tells Eric Forrester, her grandfather and confidant, how lucky she is to have found someone so steady, so devoted, so honest. But Will isn't steady tonight. His hands shake as he dials her number, rehearsing confessions he's not sure he has the courage to say aloud. Luna's return has shredded his calm. Her pregnancy, a result of a drunken, barely remembered night, has thrown his world into freefall. He tried to move on. He tried to lock away that night like it never happened. But now it's here. Real, irreversible. Electra has no idea. She's blissfully ignorant as she sprinkles rose petals and wraps the necklace box with trembling fingers. She thinks Will might propose. She's wrong. When Will finally arrives, the tension in the air is suffocating. He stammers through pleasantries, trying to delay the inevitable. But Electra is perceptive. She notices his distant gaze, his forced smiles. When he finally opens his mouth to speak, the words land like shrapnel. There's something I need to tell you about Luna. The name alone nearly drops her. Electra's expression shifts from confusion to suspicion to dread. Luna is supposed to be dead, or at least gone. Will had assured her of that. Now she learns not only is Luna alive, but she's pregnant and the baby is his. Electra's world fractures in an instant. The necklace slips from her fingers. Her dream shatters. And the fire in her heart, once reserved for Will, turns into something else entirely. The fallout is immediate. Electra, betrayed and blindsided, demands answers. She wants to know how long Will has known, how deep the lie runs, why he didn't tell her the moment Luna reappeared. Will's guilt is obvious, but that doesn't soothe her rage. Not when everything she believed in was just ripped out from under her. Back at Spencer Manor, Bill receives a call. It's Electra. Her voice is ice. She wants the truth, and she wants it now. For a moment, Bill hesitates. He knows how dangerous Electra can be when crossed. Her allegiance to the Forresters makes her both a wild card and a threat. But he also knows she could be an unexpected ally if steered correctly. He doesn't lie to her. Instead, he offers her the version of the truth that suits his agenda. Luna is a problem, he says. A mistake. A threat to everything Will has worked for. If she's really pregnant, she could bring the entire Spencer empire into scandal and ruin. She needs to be removed delicately, but permanently. Electra listens. Her fury turns calculating. If Luna thinks she can crawl back into Will's life and steal his future, she's wrong. Electra won't let a drunken mistake become a lifetime consequence. But Luna isn't backing down either. She knows what she's up against. The Spencer dynasty, Electra's jealousy, Will's guilt, and a mountain of legal threats. Still, she clings to the one thing she has that none of them can take away: the baby. In a final confrontation that simmers with unspoken tension, Luna corners Will at the beach house. She lays it all out: the night they spent together, the child growing inside her, and the truth he refuses to accept. Will is torn. He doesn't love Luna, but he can't deny the connection they once had. And deep down, he knows the baby is his. Luna begs him to step up not as a lover, but as a father. She's not asking for marriage. She's not asking for protection. She just wants him to acknowledge what they created and stand by it. Will doesn't give an answer. Not yet. But Luna sees the war inside him. She walks away, leaving him on the porch with the sound of waves crashing and a decision that could shape all their futures. Meanwhile, Electra isn't done. The betrayal burns in her bones. She turns to Eric, revealing everything. She demands the Forrester name be used to crush the Spencer family if necessary. Eric, alarmed by her intensity, tries to calm her. But Electra is already in motion. She's not waiting for Will to choose. She's going to make sure Luna never gets the chance to win. As Friday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful closes, lines are drawn. Luna stands firm, defying Bill's threats and Electra's schemes. Will is paralyzed between two futures, one safe but dishonest, the other terrifying but true. Bill watches the situation spiral, struggling to maintain control over a family that's slipping through his fingers. And Electra, heartbroken and vengeful, prepares her next move not just to reclaim Will, but to destroy the woman who took him away. The stakes are higher than ever. Love, loyalty, legacy, all on the line. And as the sun sets on Los Angeles, one thing is certain: nothing will ever be the same again. Thomas Forrester once again finds himself at the center of a storm this time. One that threatens to upend not only his career, but the already fragile balance of power within the Forrester family and the company that bears their name. What began as a passionate disagreement over creative direction spiraled into a full-blown confrontation with Brooke Logan, culminating in a physical altercation that no one in the fashion world can ignore. Word spreads quickly. By the time the dust settles, the fallout is undeniable, and Rich Forrester is forced into an impossible position, defending his son or defending the reputation of the House of Forrester. The incident occurs late in the afternoon, behind the closed doors of the Forrester design office, where Thomas has been working obsessively on his latest line for hope for the future. Brooke enters, asking questions about budget overages and pushing for accountability. She's not just meddling, she's raising concerns that others have voiced, but been too careful to say aloud. Thomas, already on edge, explodes. Tempers flare. The verbal sparring escalates into shouting, and suddenly Thomas steps forward. Too close, too fast. There's a shove. Not enough to injure, but enough to cross a line that can't be uncrossed. Brooke storms out, visibly shaken. Within the hour, word spreads through the corridors. Staff whisper. Executives are alarmed. Donna and Katie are stunned. Rich is pulled out of a marketing meeting and thrown straight into crisis mode. His son has just physically threatened his wife. His wife has already called a meeting with the ethics board. Rich is torn. On one side, there's Thomas's son, his blood, his protege. On the other, there's Brooke, his wife, the matriarch in the eyes of the public, and a powerful voice within the company. The issue isn't just personal anymore. It's professional, public, and radioactive. The press hasn't caught wind yet, but the PR team is already drafting statements just in case. The damage control machinery is in motion, but nothing can reverse what happened. Hope Logan is the next to be pulled into the maelstrom. She's summoned into the executive boardroom, where Eric, Carter, and Rich are waiting, along with several members of the company's ethics committee. She knows what's coming. They want to know if she believes Thomas is still fit to lead the Hope for the Future line. They want her to sign off on a report that could determine his future at the company. Hope is caught in a moral and emotional chokehold. She knows Thomas. She's seen his evolution. She's witnessed his darkest moments and his efforts to redeem himself. She believes in his talent, believes in his capacity for change. But now that belief is being tested in the harshest way possible. What happened with Brooke wasn't an accident. It was the return of the volatility everyone thought Thomas
The complicated and dramatic love story
Hope
between
refuses
Thomas
to
and
answer
Hope.
immediately. She needs time, she says. But the board doesn't have time. Investors are already calling. HR has opened a formal investigation. If she doesn't make a statement soon, the decision will be made without her. The pressure is suffocating. Meanwhile, Thomas isolates himself in his studio. Even Rich can't get through to him. He's aware of what he did, aware of how badly he messed up, but his pride won't let him apologize. Not yet. Not while everyone treats him like a monster for one mistake. He sees himself as provoked, cornered, misunderstood. In his mind, Brooke was attacking his work, his vision, his integrity. He lost control, yes, but only because she kept pushing. Steffi flies back from Paris the moment she hears what happened. She barges into the studio and demands answers. She doesn't sugarcoat it. What Thomas did was unacceptable. It reflects on the family, the brand, the legacy. If he doesn't apologize, if he doesn't take accountability, then he's going to lose everything. Thomas listens, but the tension between them is palpable. He feels betrayed that no one is defending him. Steffi warns him that this time, Rich may not be able to protect him. Back at the Forrester mansion, Rich and Brooke face off in private. Brooke is still shaken, still angry. She tells Rich that this isn't about a grudge, this is about safety, about ethics. She can't work in a company that tolerates violence, no matter who the perpetrator is. Rich begs her to reconsider, but she holds firm. If Thomas stays, she walks. And this time, she means it. The company is at a breaking point. Eric is furious. The family name is being dragged through the mud internally, and he knows it's only a matter of time before the media catches wind. He calls a family meeting, the kind they haven't had in years. Everyone is there: Rich, Steffi, Hope, Carter, even Zende. The tension is suffocating. Hope is asked one last time, can she continue to support Thomas as lead designer of her brand? Her answer could decide his fate. Thomas enters the room mid-discussion, uninvited but undeterred. He stands before them all and speaks finally. Not an apology, not exactly, but an explanation. He admits he lost control. He regrets the way he handled the situation with Brooke, but he insists he was provoked, that he wasn't being violent, just passionate. He refuses to be labeled unstable again. He reminds them of his contributions to the company, his creative leadership, his loyalty. He looks directly at Hope and says, if you don't believe in me anymore, then say it now. And I'll walk. Hope stares at him, the entire room holding its breath. Then she speaks. I believe in your talent. I believe in your vision. But I can't keep defending your behavior. If you want to stay, it has to be on new terms. Real accountability. Real therapy. And no more second chances. Thomas doesn't respond immediately, but the weight of her words lands. Rich nods. Steffi supports it. Eric approves. A compromise is reached at barely. Thomas will be placed on a strict behavioral and professional development plan. He will continue designing, but under oversight. HR will monitor his interactions, and any further misconduct means immediate termination. Brooke is furious. She sees it as a slap on the wrist, but she chooses not to resign. Not yet. Instead, she shifts her energy. She begins quietly building a case of digging into Thomas's past incidents, collecting statements, creating a paper trail. If he slips again, she'd be ready. Meanwhile, Thomas throws himself back into work, trying to prove he belongs. But he's different now, quieter, angrier, more guarded. He knows the eyes on him aren't admiring anymore. They're waiting for him to fall. And part of him wonders if he will. Hope, too, has changed. The faith she had in him has dimmed. She still defends him in public, but in private, she's unsure. She starts distancing herself, creating space between their creative partnership. She puts Carter on more meetings. She limits one-on-one sessions. Thomas notices. It stings. As the weeks unfold, the tension lingers. One outburst has cracked the foundation beneath them all. And while Forrester Creations continues churning out designs and profits, the people behind the brand are splintering. And somewhere in the shadows, someone watches Somion who sees the fracture and waits for the perfect moment to exploit it. Because in this world, weakness is blood in the water. And Thomas Forrester has just reopened the wound.
Oh.